Well, today was another long and epic day, of which the highlight was definitely crossing the border into Sweden, which happened probably around 3 o'clock this afternoon. So it was a couple hours of riding. I woke up around 10, so I had a bit of a sleep in. I just felt like I needed it, I guess, and had an amazing camp last night on this little beach that I found, and yeah, it was really nice to have breakfast there this morning. So I just kind of packed up really slowly and enjoyed the morning. Really enjoyed that little spot that I had, and then yeah, kicked on. And the first part of the day was some kind of, it wasn't single track, but kind of nice, like yeah, like rough roads, kind of going through the forest, and that was really fun to try on the new rig with all the gear loaded up. Definitely not as agile as I am with just the bike packing bags or even nothing at all, but it's still really fun. And it's funny how I've kind of transitioned to enjoy those sections of the trail a lot more than the sealed road sections, which I, um, originally that was all I stuck to when I was on the road bike. So yeah, bike packing is becoming more of a passion of mine, I suppose, as I get into the off-road stuff. But yeah, a couple of hours of riding, and then um, eventually, yeah, made it to Sweden. So it was pretty cool to cross over the border, and yeah, now I'm in country number two of the trip, and in a couple of days I'll be in Denmark. So just a few days here in Sweden. First impressions: lots of pine forest and um, mosquitoes. Had a awesome camp here tonight on the side of a little lake here. So I got in here quite late, and as I was riding in, I came across another guy from Sweden who was biking, and he was in the full kind of like cycling kit. He did have a saddlebag, but it was pretty minimal. So he overtook me pretty quickly while I was taking a picture of the border from the bridge. And funnily enough, there's like no immigration at all. You wouldn't even know there was a border. Actually, I had to double check the map to make sure I was actually in Sweden. But anyway, he passed me, and I thought I'd never see him again. But he was only just ahead of me as I turned a few corners, and then eventually I turned a corner and he had stopped. So I pulled up next to him and asked him what he was doing, and he didn't really know. So he was also looking for somewhere to camp. This was at maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 o'clock this evening. So I told him I was I was aiming for this campsite, and he should come with me if he wanted. But he was pretty keen to wild camp, even though he didn't even have a tent. He just had a mat and a sleeping bag. So good on him. We rode together for a while, and he'd ridden 200 k's today. So he started at 7, and he's been riding since then. So yeah, good effort, real good effort. And he's got another 1 or 2 days left of his trip. He's doing like a 3-day trip. So he just went over from Sweden into Norway, did a bit of riding there, and then came back to Sweden today. And he agreed with me that Norway sucks because there's big hills and it rains too much. So it was good to have some validation from someone not from Norway, how tough it is riding there. Um, but yeah, that was a fun little interaction, and you know, I got to a point I was like, oh, I'm gonna go this way towards the camp, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go this way and find somewhere to sleep. So we just said goodbye. Didn't even get his name. Um, but yeah, sometimes you don't need a name. So yeah, I'm just here at this camp. I've done everything I needed to do tonight. It's about 11:30, and I'm a bit annoyed, to be honest, because like I paid for this campsite because I wanted to have a warm shower and a chance to wash my clothes and stuff, but the shower was cold. So I really just doused myself to wash off some of the sweat and yeah, washed a few things in the kitchen sink, which I feel a little bit bad about, but I needed to wash them. And the campsite was like $45. So yeah, if camps in Sweden are like this, I'm probably just gonna try and wild camp the rest of the time I'm here because it's just not worth it. And yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of like caravans around here, so it kind of feels like a grey nomads stomping ground, to be honest, from Australia. And yeah, I don't really like caravan parks because they feel like where people go to die, and it kind of takes away the magic of the great outdoors, to be honest. So yeah, I kind of wish I was wild camping somewhere because last night was really magical being on that beach just by myself. But I'm sure there'll be other opportunities. So that's really it today. Um, I've been reading a new book, started yesterday, Fahrenheit 451, which is a book recommended to me by my friend Marie, who I met several years ago now, when I was traveling in Asia. So it's been on my reading list for ages, and I've finally got round to reading it. So thanks for the recommendation, Marie. It's really interesting so far. Yeah, about a quarter of the way through it. It doesn't often happen that I can't put a book down, especially fiction. I don't read too much fiction these days, and it's really good. So, um, but yeah, that's all I'll say today. I think time for bed. I think. See ya.